members can add on. All right, Senator Portantino, we're going to move to file item 7, SB 328. Begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know I've got some witnesses coming up.
Yep, take your time.
First, I'd like to begin by thanking the chair for taking so much time in our discussions leading up to the committee. I know this is a bill that she and the council members have put, senators have put significant time in looking at over the last 2 years, and I appreciate that this bill has generated such thoughtful inquiry and research and time, so I appreciate that. Madam Chair and members, teenagers in our country are sleep deprived. It's a public health epidemic, and according to conclusive medical research, the primary cause of the epidemic is early school start times that are not aligned with the biological sleep needs of adolescent children. Senate Bill 328 will update California's education code with public health parameters for middle and high school start times. The regular school day begins, according to the bill, no earlier than 8:30 a.m. or later, as recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Centers for Disease Control, Prevention, and many other health and medical organizations. Despite decades of overwhelming and compelling evidence of the harm to teens from early wake-up times, the vast majority of California secondary schools, about 80%, still begin before 8:30 a.m., so early that they prevent most teens from getting the doctor-recommended 9 hours of sleep for their growing bodies and brain needs. According to the CDC, the average secondary school start time in California is 8:07, and many start school first period before 7:30. Early secondary school start times harm children's health and safety in many, many ways. Insufficient sleep among adolescents causes higher rates of depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts and actions, behavioral problems, obesity, diabetes, drowsy driving, car accidents, substance abuse, and sports injuries. These early hours are contributing factors to the #1 and #2 causes of death among young people: car accidents and suicide. The status quo also causes worse academic outcomes. Research shows that sleep deprivation among adolescent students causes sleeping in class, difficulty paying attention, forgetfulness, absences, more tardies, more discipline action, worse grades and test scores, and higher dropout rates. And this is not anecdotal data. This is hard, cold, factual data. The status quo is actually widening the achievement gaps and health disparities at our state, because early starts are proven to hurt disadvantaged children the most. Frankly, the current system is unjust on so many levels. Many students show that disadvantaged children already get less sleep than their more privileged peers. They face more obstacles getting the early bells on time, and they are disproportionately affected by the harm of developmentally inappropriate start times. The good news is, according to the CDC, later start times are the single most cost-effective public health intervention. Let me say that again. Later start times are the single most cost-effective public health intervention, with the potential to help the largest number of children to combat the adolescent sleep loss epidemic. There is an expansive evidence spanning decades that when schools start later, teens get more sleep. They are healthier, they're happier, they're less likely to contemplate suicide, less likely to get in car accidents, their attendance goes up, their grades go up, and graduations grow up. And in California, increased attendance means increased average daily attendance funds to school districts. A 1% increase in attendance in the LAUSD would increase $25 million. And as if it were not enough, the RAND Corporation projects that California's economy will grow by $1 billion a year over the next 10 years as a result of the higher graduation rates, fewer car accidents, fewer discipline, better productivity with late start. And every year, the evidence just keeps mounting. After a recent study of the Seattle Public School District, a large urban district which adopted late start, confirms the previous findings. With the shift to later starts, their students are getting more sleep, getting better grades, and attending school more often. Attendance improved the most at schools with the most low-income students. Let me say that again. Attendance improved at the schools with the most low-income students. Student athletes are also a big beneficiary. I'm sure somebody who will oppose this bill will mention the impact on sports as a negative. Healthy school start time as well helps our athletes. They get hurt less and they participate more. It's just staggering, the impact. And again, as a parent of a student athlete and a parent who sees other kids wanting to perform, performance increases and injuries decrease. We know that healthy school hours work. There are hundreds of well-run school districts across the nation that thrive with later age-appropriate start times at their middle and high schools. They have healthier and safer students and successful sports programs. The data and evidence is very clear. Early, middle, and high school start times pose a public health and safety risk to our state's youth. Our youth deserve equal protection from that health risk. The state of California frequently sets health and safety standards for our public education system. For example, when scientific evidence revealed the dangers of asbestos, lead, smoking, and unimmunized students, the legislature acted to protect our children. So too, then the legislature can and should act in accordance with the authority and responsibility to protect California's 6 million public children from a public health risk of developmentally inappropriate early secondary school start times. I've often been asked why I'm so passionate about this proposal. People come up to me, they say, you know what, you brought it back again, you keep on this. And you know, I've just read too many stories in too many papers and seen too many families of high school kids who have taken their own life. And I don't want to read another one. I just don't want to read another one. And to know that we have an opportunity to affect the lives positively of those kids, I just can't in good conscience not bring this back. Today I have Dr. Rafael Palaio from Stanford University School of Medicine and the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. I have Joy Wake from the Start School Later and High School Parent Engagement Group. I know the PTA is here because they're one of the sponsors of this bill, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Senator Portantino, each witness has 2 minutes. 2 witnesses, 2 minutes each. Please proceed. You can decide who wants to start.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss this bill. Before I start, I actually want to say to Senator Wilk, who's just stepped out, to thank him for his leadership and apologize for letting my passion get the better of me the last time I was before this committee. Anyway, I am a professor and physician specializing in sleep medicine for over 25 years at Stanford University. The evidence is clear and indisputable that adolescents are suffering from chronic sleep deprivation, which is causing them harm. Science teaches us adolescents are particularly vulnerable to sleep deprivation because there is a biological shift in their brain rhythms that heightens their alertness at night, which forces them to fall asleep later. There are decades of peer-reviewed data showing that this is a worsening public health problem. The Center for Disease Control has reported that insufficient sleep among students has now increased to well over 70%. A recent review encompassing nearly 600,000 teenagers found that sleep deprivation is an independent risk factor, independent of mood, independent risk factor for development of suicidality. The lowest suicidal behavior is for sleep durations of 8 to 9 hours. Most teenagers are lucky to get even 7 hours on school nights. Unfortunately for teenagers, school starts too early. This has led to very serious physical and mental health problems, including decreased school performance and mental health, along with increased car accidents. The good news is that the research has consistently shown that delaying the school start time has improved the health and well-being of teenagers. The biology of their sleep cannot continue to be treated as an inconvenience. The weight of the scientific evidence is so compelling that professional health societies have taken notice. The American Academy of Pediatrics, Stanford's Packard Children's Hospital, nursing organizations, mental health organizations, Academy of Sleep Medicine, National Sleep Foundation, on, have all agreed that starting school later will improve the adolescents' quality of life, academic performance, physical and mental health. There are zero health organizations opposing this bill. Now you have the opportunity to translate this science into sound public health policy and send the message that we value the health of our children over all other concerns. I urge you to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for serving on this very important committee. Even for kids with good sleep habits, early school start times mandate that most teens wake up at times that doctors say increase their risks for illness, suicide, and car accidents. Many children suffer daily and have a worse quality of life because of it. I'm sure we all agree that California's public education system should always make children's health and safety the #1 priority, but that's actually not what's happening here. Currently, school districts have the option of going against accepted health and medical expertise and continuing the practice of developmentally inappropriate start times for adolescent children. We don't believe protecting children's health and safety should be merely optional. We think all children, regardless of their zip code, income, or race, deserve equal protection from known public health risks, and early middle school start times are particularly harmful to girls who enter puberty earlier than boys. Decades of evidence and lived experience show that 8:30 a.m. or later start times work for families and schools. About 20% of California schools already start at 8:30 or later without issue, and more families are proven to be able to get their kids to school with 8:30 or later start times, especially low-income families. Normally, deferring educational issues to local control makes sense, but with this statewide public health problem, it has not served the public good. Adolescent sleep deprivation is a public health epidemic primarily caused by public policy. We understand that healthy school start times will take effort, and in some cases, they'll take resources, but we think that the health and well-being of 6 million California children is worth the effort. Many districts nationwide have proven that you don't need to harm teens' health and safety to run an efficient school district or have a thriving extracurricular program or an efficient transportation department. As adults, it is our moral obligation to protect children, and today you all have the opportunity and the power to do just that. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support, name and support, please.
Harold Kosovar, California State PTA, representing over 700,000 members.
Donna Archukovich, Orange County PTA, the largest PTA district in the United States, representing 500,000 sleep-deprived children, support this bill.
Tom Nelson, Vice President for the 3rd District PTA, representing 8 counties in California, including Sacramento County, and over 150 schools. Please support this bill. Thank you.
Irina Keller, Professor of Psychology, an expert in sleep, child sleep, and a parent. Respectfully ask you to support this bill. Put our children first. Thank you.
Alon Gottlieb, I'm a 9th grader at Amador Valley High School, and I'm a sleep-deprived student, and I ask you to please vote yes on Senate Bill number 328.
My name is Sue Gilling, and I'm proud to support this bill for the high school parent engagement group and start school later. As a retired psychiatric and community health nurse, I strongly support SB 328.
My name is Lori Morales. I'm a mother of 2 children that went through the San Juan Unified School District and an active participant in the parent-teacher organization. The science is clear. I support this bill.
Diane Wolf, I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist in private practice, and I see the devastation that sleep deprivation causes and urge you to support this bill.
Hi, I'm April Monroe. I'm a parent of 2 students who graduated from the San Juan School District and an active member of the PTA during their entire education, and I also support this bill.
I'm Ann Delcor. I'm the chapter leader for Start School Later Sacramento, which is a group of students here in Sacramento supporting the bill. I'm also with the San Juan Unified Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee, urging you to support the bill for the children.
Hi, Elizabeth McClure, OBGYN, parent of 3 used to be teenagers in Sacramento and San Juan School District, also member of Neighborhood Wellness Foundation in Del Paso Heights. We strongly ask for your support of this bill.
Hi, I'm Curtis Pollins with Mental Health America of California, and we are in support of this bill.
Morgan Carvajal with the California Medical Association, also in support. Good morning, I'm Dr. Diamond Ling here on behalf of American Academy of Pediatrics and strong support.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ajay Acharya. I'm a Sacramento pediatrician here on behalf of the American Academy of Pediatrics, and I strongly support this bill.
Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Fitzwater on behalf of the American Academy of Pediatrics. I support this bill.
Hello, Dr. Suzanne Stewart, part of the American Academy of Pediatrics, local pediatrician in support of this bill.
Hi, I'm Chris Driller. I've raised 3 kids in the San Juan Unified School District. And they're in their 20s now. I've also served as a PTA president for a couple of years and on numerous committees. And I support this bill for improved graduation rates.
Name and support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in support? All right, opposition to the bill?
Give up your seats. Come back.
Okay, you have 2 witnesses, 2 minutes each. I will let you decide who's going to go first. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Leyva. Senators, my name is Scott Dosick. I'm a school board member of the Natomas Unified School District. For those of you who are from out of town, you drive through our district anytime you're flying in and out of Sacramento. I'm here not only on behalf of the 15,000 students of the Natomas Unified School District, but also here today as a single parent of 2 teenage kids, one in middle school and one in high school. While I am not going to dispute the science, I don't have a PhD in sleep science, and I certainly can relate to sleep deprivation, as my Starbucks addiction will attest. Mandating later start times will create an incredible hardship for single-income families, for working-class families, for low-income families. I can only speak from my students and from my kids' perspective, but regardless of what time my kids' school starts, I still have to get them to school before 8 o'clock because that's the only way I get to work on time. I have a full-time job, I'm a single parent, and an elected official. It's a balancing act, and I've struck that balance, but regardless of whether school starts at 8, 8:30, 9, my kids are still gonna have to get up at that same time. The difference is instead of being in an academic instruction environment, they're gonna be in an unattended environment, a non-structured environment, and they're still gonna be getting up. It won't accomplish the goals that are laudable goals, and I support those goals. Please allow local school boards that are in touch with their communities. Natomas Unified, 60% of our students, our families live in low income, live below the poverty line and qualify for free and reduced lunch. These are the families that this bill would hurt the most because these are the ones that do not have the resources. We do not have the resources to be able to support getting these kids to school at a later time and still get to work on time and support our families. Thank you for your time.
Next witness, please.
Good morning. My name is Cindy Gardner. I'm from Rim of the World Unified School District, which is in the mountains of San Bernardino. As such, our elevation of our school district is from the 4,700-foot level to the 7,200-foot level. Our middle school and high school are in dead center at the 5,700-foot level. High school starts at 7:10 in the morning, elementary at 8:20 in the morning, and middle school at 9:10 in the morning. We've played around with different scenarios for our school district to meet the requirements of this bill. Right now, the best scenario is 7:10 a.m. start time for elementary. That would require our TKers, our 4-year-olds, to get to a bus stop for pickup at 6:30 in the morning in the dark, in the snow, in the middle of winter. That would also create a 8:30 start time for high school, and the middle school would start at 9:30. So actually, the high school would start at 9 o'clock and the middle school would start at 10:07. Those kids, the last drop-off point would be 6 o'clock at night. So think about the activities that would be precluded from them to participate in. The next thing is that if we try to duplicate or double our buses to get everybody at a decent start time, it would cost us $3.1 million one time, $1.3 million ongoing. That would push us into insolvency. So to cover these expenses, what would it require? laying off 12 teachers, including the entire career technical education department, 1 assistant principal, 4 counselors, 5 librarians, 3 secretaries. It would reduce or eliminate our virtual credit recovery program, which helps our most academically at-risk kids. It would also have to cut drama, band, choir, and my favorite, athletics. Really don't want to do that. We would also have to cancel our textbook adoption. So we think this is a local decision, local control, what works best for us. Our start times are inflexible. We are physically unable to condense the pickup times because literally our buses are picking kids up in the farthest reaches of the mountains. We work with our CHP for the most effective bus routes. Remember, we don't have sidewalks. So our 4-year-olds, when it's snowing and there's berms 10, 20 feet high at 7,200 foot level at 6:30 in the morning, that's what's going to happen because we can't accommodate the start times in a condensed fashion. What we'd like to do is encourage you to oppose this bill, believing that it's local decision making. Thank you.
Thank you. Others opposing? Name an opposition. Go ahead.
Madam Chair and Senator, Seth Bramble here on behalf of the California Teachers Association. We could probably support a pilot program. We are opposed to Senate Bill 328.
Thank you. Others in opposition?
Elizabeth Escovel with the California Association of School Business Officials. We're opposed because the bill fails to recognize the logistical, fiscal, family, and community impacts of imposing the state mandate. Thank you.
Name an opposition, please.
Cheryl E. Dow on behalf of the California School Board Association in opposition.
Michelle Underwood on behalf of the Oakland and Torrance Unified School Districts in opposition.
Kevin Tromer with the Compton Unified School District in opposition.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the Alameda Contra Costa Transit District in opposition.
Catlin O'Halloran with the Charter Schools Development Center in opposition, and we appreciate the comments in the analysis.
Kathy McBride with the Association of California School Administrators, also opposed.
David Nevin on behalf of the California Association of School Transportation Officials in opposition.
Jeff Walker representing the Riverside County Office of Education in opposition.
Jeff Frost, California Association of Suburban School Districts in opposition.
Alexandra Condon, Sacramento parent of 3 and a high schooler in opposition.
Sergio Martinez, California Teachers Association Board of Directors, strongly in opposition.
Nick Romley on behalf of the San Bernardino County District Advocates for Better Schools in opposition.
Charles Shannon with the Orinda Educators Association, CTA member, in opposition.
Shay Lohman, Association of Roland Educators, in opposition.
Ingrid Ganell, Senator Portantino's constituent, and I believe this should be a local control issue. Thank you.
Gina Whipple, Teachers Association of Lancaster, strongly oppose.
Hilda Rodriguez Guzman, charter school parent in Los Angeles, in South Los Angeles, strongly opposed. Thank you.
Ed Foley, retired teacher, strongly opposed.
Leangela Reed, Small School Districts Association in opposition.
Any further opposition? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'm going to bring it back to the committee. Before I ask the committee for their input, I would like to give my input. First, I want to say you are right, Senator Portantino. I've spent a lot of time on this bill, and it's because it's such a significant issue. I read the entire book that you provided us with. I made my own notes. And while the majority of it does suggest that sleep time is significant and important, I think we all know that, even in this report that you gave us, it talks about academic improvement is actually not statistically significant enough to list. It talks about there's more than just changing start times, that parents need to help their kids get more sleep, that parents need to take their kids off of their phones, that parents need to take away the television time. So I appreciate it. I read it. My concerns for the bill are, one, as we've heard today, that every school district already has the right to do this. Every school district can already do this. And I think that each school district is unique. And in doing research on this bill, we found that some school districts started a later start time, and it worked, and they love it, and they're continuing it. Others started it, and it didn't work, and they went back. So I think it's very hard to say that one size fits all. I'm also concerned about the unintended consequences. We heard a little bit from Remember the World about the school buses. When you and I met, I shared with you that my own county of San Bernardino would have to duplicate their buses to a cost of $10 million, and I just don't think those are insignificant. I'm also concerned because we have teachers striking for smaller class sizes, for counselors, for nurses. So there are a lot of issues that we are facing in our school system right now in K through 12. And I just worry that this is not the best thing to do at this time. I appreciate your passion. I too agree. We don't want to see any kids commit suicide. But I worry that this bill is going to have so many unintended consequences that we're going to find ourselves in a worse position than we're in now. So for those reasons, I will not be able to support the bill today. Any other comments or questions from committee? Oh, thank you, Senator Chang.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was a no on this issue last year, and I appreciate the author contacting me, and I looked into it myself. I've talked to a lot of physicians. I've talked to a ton of parents actually in the district who contacted me. And ultimately, after reviewing the research, I'm beginning to understand that this is a public health issue. I'm willing to try something new for students. The science does show that our students can benefit from a later start to their school days, and I am supportive of that. But I also want to say that I did hear from opposition regarding the local control issues. And I would like to revisit this at a later date if it's not working. But at this point, I am willing to give this a chance. And I appreciate the author's passion. So today I will be supporting this bill.
Thank you, Senator Chang. Dr. Pan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so first of all, I have to say that I'm a co-author on the bill because the data on this issue is extremely strong, and as a pediatrician and someone who scientist, and certainly I know that many of there's basically a consensus and the experts in the field who look at pediatrics and development and sleep, and we've heard from some of them here. I recognize from the opposition, I appreciate I have a school board member from my own school district here who's opposed. But I would say that what I hear in the opposition is, well, it's going to be hard to do this. I acknowledge that. There are some challenges and it'll be hard. But when we talk about, and believe me, I'm someone who wants to see more school nurses, psychologists, smaller class sizes and so forth, and those are going to be very important, why aren't we trying to give our kids every chance at success? And the data shows this is an important element of this. And part of the reason for saying that, well, we should do this across the state, yes, people are challenged with trying to get to work. Well, actually, if every school district in the state was doing this, I think we're going to see some adjustments in workplaces because they recognize that it's not just a couple parents who are trying to do this. It's not. Do parents need to work with their children around electronics and screens? Yes, they do. But at the same time, what we're trying to do is we're working against biology when we say, well, in addition to that, we also need to tell our kids they need to get up earlier than their sleep cycle, that the evidence shows what their sleep cycle is. So we have to think, is our schools for our students or students for our schools? And if our schools are for our students, then we need to look at what the evidence shows that's best for our students. And certainly I think the data on this is compelling, that this is something our students need. And we got to figure out how to make our systems work with this so that we're not working against it. I mean, we can try to get more psychologists, we can do more school nurses, we can do everything else, but why are we working against the biology? And so with that, I'm certainly, not only said I come co-author, I'm in support of the bill, and I would actually move the bill at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Dr. Pan. Any other questions or comments? Senator Wilk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just going to make a comment. So I appreciate your passion. I mean, you've not let up on this issue since last year. And I agree with Dr. Pan. I find a lot of the evidence compelling. We've got to balance that with local control, which is something I strongly believe in. Based upon our conversations last week and the additional information you gave me, I'm gonna vote for it today because I think we need to continue to, it's a very important issue. We need to have that discussion. I have to go back and re-meet with my local school districts because many of them are opposed to it. So I'm gonna vote for today. If I get a lot of pushback at home, I'll reserve the right on the floor to vote the other way. But I mean, obviously, it should be students first. And so I want to go back and talk about those implementation issues. And it's easy to say no, but you know, how can you get to yes? And so I'm going to go back and work on that and be happy to support it today.
Thank you, Senator Wilk. Anything else? I'd just like to make sure the committee also knows that I offered an amendment to Senator Portantino, which he was not willing to take, because the science also shows that late teens, that it works best for people in their late teens and early 20s, which makes it ripe for high school. And I asked him to exempt middle schools and junior highs, so that way it would ease some of the transportation issues. And you did not want to take that, so I appreciate that. You countered back with something else that wasn't feasible in my mind. So I do feel like we have tried to work on this issue, but there's a lot of unintended consequences, and I just wish that we can wave a magic wand and make it easy for everyone. And respectfully, Dr. Pan, working with corporate America for many years in the labor movement, I don't think most workplaces will adjust their time for schools. I never saw that happen. So with that, Senator Portantino, would you like to close?
I would, and yes, I will acknowledge that, and the analysis does, that you offer the opportunity to exempt out middle schools, and I believe I came up, let me back up. I think the concern you had is a legitimate concern about giving districts flexibility to stagger their bus schedule, and you know, I believe actually if we made middle schools and junior highs have a minimum standard of 8 o'clock and high schools 8:30, I think that accomplishes that goal, that I was willing to go there, and I still am considering that amendment as this hopefully bill moves out today, because I think that is a legitimate question to ask, though frankly the data doesn't show that the transportation costs do increase. And I think, you know, I do appreciate Dr. Pan's co-authorship and leadership on this as a pediatrician. The data is clear, and frankly, the consequences of the implementation are positive. You know, I think that's what we need to follow in this case. You know, we have a way to positively affect the public health of our children and consequently their academic performance. A former president who was a governor once said that his biggest frustration with education was that every problem in education has been solved on a campus somewhere. And the governor was frustrated because the challenge was duplicating that success, because so much of what makes things work on a particular campus are the art of the people involved, and it's hard to duplicate that art. And what makes me excited about Late Start is this is a replicable, duplicable, proven way to improve the public health and welfare of our children and academic performance. It's not anecdote, it's not theory, it's borne out by district after district, urban district, small district, and the data shows it works. I do want to comment again on the impact on low-income children and working family households. Again, the data shows that they see the biggest benefit after the change, and with the Seattle model, we know that attendance actually increased, didn't decrease. So what is being used as a negative is actually a positive for the bill. And if I could close with comments from a University of Berkeley professor, and he wrote, "I write with deepest sincerity imploring you to support the bill to delay school start times. The scientific, education, and public health and safety data are unequivocal, as he describes below in his letter. This bill is a mission critical to giving adolescents the opportunity to get the sleep they need, no matter what parents do or how much the importance of sleep is communicated. Most teens simply cannot get enough sleep with early start time." And he concluded his letter with, this is his letter he sent last year, As you can see, the scientific measurable sleep deficiency associated with early school start times results in marked mental, physical, and academic damage. His word, not mine. If our goal as educators truly is to educate and not risk the lives in the process, then I fear we are failing our next generation with unsustainable models of early school start time. And that was signed by Matthew Walker, PhD, Professor of Neuroscience and Psychology, Director of Center for Human Sleep Science at the University of California, Berkeley. So we've united both Stanford professors and Cal professors in support, and I think for that alone, we should get an aye vote, and so I respectfully ask for an aye vote and appreciate the comments from my colleagues. I certainly will work with Senator Wilk and Senator Chang and continue to work with Dr. Pan and certainly with the chair as well. With that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Portantino. Madam Secretary, please. Oh, we have a motion, I think, by Senator Pan. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Item 7, SB 328. The motion is due pass to appropriations. Leyva?
No.
Leyva, no. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Chang? Chang, aye. Durazo? Glazer? McGuire? Pan? Aye. Pan, aye.
Leave that bill on call for other members to vote. Thank you very much. All right, we are in file item order. I do not see Senator Allen, but I do see